I break into your home in the middle of the night with a silenced pistol, and you have no idea why I might be here?
He says he doesn't care. He says he doesn't feel. He says he's just doing his job.
You expected to sit across from me and feel nothing but reassured. Like that recent day when you shouldered your weapon and somehow...
But in David Fincher's The Killer, 2023, we discover that even the most precise mind can fracture when the plan collapses.
Stick to the plan. Anticipate, don't improvise.
It's not just a film about an assassin. It's about control, identity, and the terrifying silence that follows failure. This is The Killer, explain, the story of a man who lives without emotion until emotion kills him. Part 1, The Job. The film begins in Paris. A man sits in an empty WeWork office, silent still, waiting. He's our narrator, unnamed, calm, and methodical. His voice is flat, detached, and coldly logical. Stick to the plan, he says. Anticipate, don't improvise. Empathy is weakness. Through his monologue, we enter his world, one of strict rules and perfect discipline. Every movement, every breath, every thought calculated for survival. His target, a man staying across the street in a luxury hotel. He spends days watching, tracking patterns, measuring timing, heart rate, and wind direction. He eats the same McDonald's breakfast, stretches the same way, repeats mantras like a machine. Everything is under control until it isn't. Part 2, The Mistake. When the time finally comes, the killer lines up his shot. Steady, composed, invisible. The target enters the room. The crosshair aligns perfectly. But in the split second between breath and trigger, a woman walks into the frame. The shot hits the wrong person. A clean mission becomes a catastrophe. Sirens blare. He flees through the night. The killer repeats his mantra. Don't improvise, anticipate, stick to the plan, but it's useless now. The plan is gone. Failure, for someone like him, isn't just a mistake. It's an identity crisis. He disappears, vanishing into airports, aliases, storage lockers, and fake passports. Yet, even as he hides, we see cracks forming. The voice that once sounded confident now feels desperate. He repeats his own rules like prayers he no longer believes in. Part 3, The Consequence. Weeks later, the killer returns home to his hideout in the Dominican Republic. But the sanctuary isn't safe anymore. His house has been broken into. There's blood on the floor. His partner, Magdala, has been brutally beaten. For a man who claims to feel nothing, the silence says everything. Someone came looking for him and hurt the only person he ever let close. It's not rage that drives him next. It's precision. Cold, surgical revenge. He decides to eliminate everyone involved in the chain of failure, not to restore justice, not to protect love, but to erase the mistake. Part 4, The Hunt Begins. What follows is a global journey of vengeance. From the tropics to New Orleans, Florida, and Chicago, the killer tracks down everyone responsible, methodically, impersonally. He poses as delivery drivers, corporate consultants, insurance men. He uses technology and routine as armor. But as he kills his way through the chain, a strange contradiction appears. The man who claims not to feel is driven by feeling. He kills not because it's efficient, but because he's angry. He claims emotion is weakness, yet every action he takes is emotional. In one chilling scene, he suffocates a man with cold precision, his heartbeat never rising. "This is what happens when you trust people," he narrates. But his voice trembles slightly. For the first time, doubt leaks through. Part 5, The Brute and the Expert. Two key confrontations define his descent. The first is the Brute, a massive enforcer who carried out the beating. The fight is brutal, animalistic, silent, a complete breakdown of control. It's messy, painful, desperate. Every hit feels heavier than the last. When he finally kills the Brute, he doesn't look victorious, just exhausted. The second is the Expert, a fellow assassin played by Tilda Swinton. Their encounter happens in an upscale restaurant. Two professionals, perfectly polite, quietly acknowledging what's about to happen. They drink fine whiskey and exchange philosophies. She tells him, "The problem with doing this job long enough is that you start to believe you're special." He says nothing. Then he kills her. But her words linger, echoing louder than any bullet. Because that's exactly what's happening to him. He's starting to think he's different, human. Part 6, The Master Behind the Curtain. The final stop is the client, the corporate executive who ordered the hit. The man sits in a glass office, high above the city, casual and unafraid. When the killer confronts him, there's no panic, just confusion. The client insists he never wanted anyone harmed. It was just business, a misunderstanding. The killer listens quietly. Then he lowers his gun. He decides not to kill him. Maybe because he's telling the truth? Maybe because it doesn't matter anymore. The killer leaves him alive, the first time he spared anyone. For a man who insists on total control, that act of mercy feels like rebellion, but it also feels hollow. Part 7, The Return to Nothing. Back in the Dominican Republic, the killer sits alone again. The same chair, the same routine. But everything feels different. He repeats his mantras, "Stick to the plan." Empathy is weakness. Yet there's no conviction left in his voice. The apartment is clean, quiet, and lifeless. Magdala is safe, but distant. He's erased every loose end, every threat, every trace of chaos. And still, he's not at peace. Because the real mistake wasn't the missed shot. It was thinking that control could replace meaning. The camera lingers as he stares into the distance, neither relieved nor haunted. Just empty. The final shot mirrors the opening, symmetry as irony. We realize the truth. He hasn't escaped the loop. He's back inside it, a man trapped in the illusion of order, haunted by the one thing he can't kill, himself. Part 8, Explained and Themes. The Killer is not an action film. It's a psychological study of obsession, isolation, and illusion. David Fincher turns the archetype of the assassin into a metaphor for the perfectionist in all of us, the part that believes logic can erase pain. The killer believes he's beyond emotion, but every act reveals the opposite. His failure isn't missing the shot, it's refusing to accept imperfection. Every time he repeats his rules, stick to the plan, anticipate, don't improvise, he's trying to drown out chaos. But life, like the film, refuses to stay on script. The sterile cinematography, the muted color palette, and the rhythmic sound design all mirror his state of mind. Mechanical, flawless, suffocating. Even the narration, calm and clinical, becomes unreliable. Because in the end, the killer isn't talking to us. He's talking to himself, trying to convince the last person who still might believe him that he's in control. Outro. The Killer, 2023, is the story of a man who mistakes precision for purpose and silence for peace. It's not about killing others. It's about killing emotion over and over until nothing human remains. David Fincher doesn't show us a hitman's world. He shows us a mirror. Because maybe we all build systems, routines, and excuses to avoid feeling too much. And maybe, like the killer, we're all just one failure away from realizing that perfection is a lie. Thanks for watching The Pulse Movie. Subscribe for more psychological thrillers and cinematic dissections, explained one heartbeat at a time.